treat these podcast people that be doing interviews like you getting interrogated by the police, and that's facts. It's easy to say next question or no to the question. Now let's make it make sense. What's up? Join down. Y'all already know the deal, man. Y'all tuned in to Grape Street TV, and today we're gonna react to Adam 22. How he be dipping himself into politics, and he don't even be knowing. But you know, he interviews certain people that got certain ties to the streets. He ends up falling himself in street politics and stirring up some BS. But at the end of the day, these are the people that's getting interviewed. It's easy to say next question or no to the question. So let's make it make sense. If you ain't hit that like or that subscribe button yet, that's what you need to be doing. But if not, you already know the deal with me, man. I'm gonna bust y'all across your head with some knowledge every time, man, straight up. And make sure y'all hit that bell for all notifications. So when I drop these reactions right here, they pop up on your timeline like the chicken pox. Boop, 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 boop. Y'all already know the deal with me, man. Listen, tap in. Now that I got y'all attention, we finna break this reaction down to the very last compound. So I want to jump into Joe Budden confronting Adam 22 about Richard Spencer. You all know Richard Spencer, like, he on some racist stuff. So he still brought him to the platform and allowed him to say certain things. I was just looking at the fact how Joe Budden was like, you know, it was no colored workers that was there talking with them. Like, it's just like it was set up, like it was set up to be. And you know, he always plays like the innocent guy. I'm just a person doing an interview, but you do put these questions together, and you do got a motive behind it, and you know it creates content, and you do ask certain questions to blow your views up, and that's fact. So you'll jump into the audio, and we're gonna make it make sense.
How could you expect, I guess what I'm asking, how could you expect to not have any problems at your network, which is hip hop based for the most part, would you say? Or at least the people you surrounded yourself with are hip hop based. And then and then Richard Spencer. Can you talk to me about the decision to bring Richard Spencer on your show, on your Tuesday show, with no black people present?
Yeah, I see. He say he got Richard Spencer to come to the show with no black people present. Like, far as he probably knew that Richard Spencer was gonna say certain things or how people felt about it. And that's something I feel like he should have sat down and talked to his team, thought things out, especially when it comes to some racist stuff. And that's facts.
On the Tuesday show, but it was I arranged a debate between Destiny, who's like a very popular left-wing commentator, and Richard Spencer. And you know, I really didn't think, like, in terms of the other hosts, I didn't think this would be an issue, primarily because of the fact that, I mean, AD had been the one who wanted to have us interview Nick Fuentes, or we did like a debate, I guess, quote unquote, at a certain point a couple months ago. But I guess he felt different about the Richard Spencer thing or whatever. We didn't really take time to dig into the creation of the alt-right and racist statements that Richard Spencer's made in the past and everything, because his narrative that he's pushing now is that he's a changed man and he doesn't, you know, harbor ill will towards whoever.
But even though he's hollering, I'm a changed man, and you doing an interview on somebody, like, wouldn't you think that you would want to look into this dude to see, like, what is he talking about? What is he changing from? He could be changing from anything, a petty, just some scandalous stuff that you shouldn't want nobody on your podcast that's like that. And that's facts.
And I mean, in the context of a debate, I didn't think it would be that controversial for us to platform it.
So, Adam, I admire the business that you've built, and I don't think any idiot could do it. Would you say that you've handled that? One of the criticisms were that you handled Richard Spencer with kid gloves.
I definitely think the thing I should have done is I should have pulled back at a certain point and I should have tried to really zero in on any kind of negative statements about Black people or anything racist in general. Because it seemed like we focus more on the like liberal conservative binary and less on the
That's BS. You know, it seems like when you say something and you correcting him or checking him, what he does is ride with your side of the question, try to make it seem like, yeah, he agrees, but he's still explaining his way out of the situation in a sneaky way. That's fact. Snake vibe.
So, yes, you acknowledge that one of those criticisms are that you handled him uh, with kid gloves.
Yeah, I mean, it probably should have been more of an interview. I probably should have spent more time on, let's go over some of the major things that you've been associated with that are kind of ugly or very ugly. And yeah, I definitely failed to a certain extent by not spending more time on that, given my audience and how a lot of people in my audience probably would have wanted to hear more about all that.
And by kid gloves, I mean you handled him with a certain care. That's what I'm attempting to say. On my podcast, one of my criticisms of you was as a white man occupying space in the hip hop space, that you should probably handle more of these rappers and Black people with care as you report on them. You don't see that parallel?
No, I see it for sure, but it's also like when I'm interviewing a rapper, it feels
Once again, you see what he say? Yeah, I see it for sure. And he goes on, you know, to agree and disagree at the same time. But that's enough of that. And we're gonna get into the part that how he interviews people and he turns people, you know, more against each other. Just like his show, how it ended up, everything backfired, karma came back, everything comes to his show, everything fell apart. So it's like you could tell what type of person he is. He'll use you for content, even if he does know you. Even that he's close to you, he'll still throw you under the bus. Like we've been seeing it with our own eyes. Just look at everything he done did to his employees. And look how he talks on the internet like they're nothing when majority of them helped build that empire. Like AD, Lush, like a lot of them helped build it. Like bringing people to get interviewed, ideas, being the personalities of the show. And that's facts. But he'll get on there and ask somebody something and it'll stir up some BS. And he's doing it for content. And a lot of people don't see that. He has so many flaws, like from back in the days to now, just all the different allegations that he has against him. And a lot of people didn't stop to even investigate and listen to people talking about him. When they first started throwing him under the bus and saying stuff, people were saying they was hating. Like I said, he know how to ride with your question and he know how to agree and disagree at the same time. You got to make it make sense. You got to pay attention to these folks. Like if you've been around people that like to manipulate people and you from the streets, you know what I'm talking about. So he just one of those slick talking dudes that know how to get himself out of certain situations, but it's coming into a dead end for him because everybody seeing him for who he really is. And how he talking about the girl that was 16, he met her, she said she was 16, it's legal out there where she at. It's not legal out here. He said he explained that. And it's kind of like weird to me how he say that he found her on Facebook maybe about 3 years later or something. Yeah, I just find that kind of weird that he found her on Facebook or however they bumped heads, but he still found her. He still ended up sleeping with her, doing whatever he did. That's crazy. But my question is, why a lot of you folks not out there checking this man for putting these videos out, making it look negative, or asking you these type of questions that has nothing to do with the internet that should be in the streets, whether it's the gang culture or street politics. You bring it to the streets and talking about it on people's platform. And like I always say, you gotta watch these people that be podcasting. They're actually reckless questions. And it's like you gotta treat them interviews like you're getting interrogated by the police. Because these questions could come back and hunt you. That's why I always look at it how people go around parading the gang culture and saying, I'm this, I'm that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, as far as negativity, placing themselves in those type of settings. When they catch cases, they wonder why they get all those allegations and get all those years added on to their time. You basically self-admitting, even being involved or being the active person that's in the gang culture. And a lot of these folks is too old for that. They on here thinking about the wrong things. Like everybody should be elevating and moving on, buying properties and doing something for the community, for the youth.
This is an OG call.
People focus on the wrong things. That it's a lot of people that I call them video whores. They be hungry to get an interview. I know, what I mean? People be having things that they're doing. They want to get the right promotion, but it's the way you do it. Stay solid, remain solid. If you go on somebody's podcast and they ask you certain questions and you shouldn't be answering them the way you answer them, just say next question. It's no biggie. Stay solid. Start checking these folks. This type of dude, like, he needs to start getting addressed by these people for him putting these videos out and stirring up all this BS. It come from doing stuff, people that's rapping, R&B, like, as far as the hip hop, and a lot of these people got a lot of ties to the streets. And he asked these people these reckless questions. So sometimes you gotta ask yourself, should you be answering that question? Is he wrong for answering the question? Yeah, of course. Because some people, they map it out and they write down the questions that they want to ask people. And I'm pretty sure they got some that they be like maybe questions and some that be for sure. But at the end of the day, they all want to get like the dirt. They all want views. They thirsty for the views. They chasing the bag. You can't hate a man, for grinding and doing what he do, but it's how you do it. And you don't want to be labeled as a bad person when it comes to involving yourself into street politics, such as interviewing people that's in the streets. We're going to get to the bottom of it though. Like, is Adam 22 bad for the culture? I would say yes. He's bad for a lot of cultures, just based on how he's moving. So with all that being said, all I'm going to say is, this go for anybody. If you getting interviewed and you get asked questions that you don't need to be answering, or you don't feel like putting your personal business out there, say next question. Say no to the question. Or stop supporting these type of people that do these type of interviews, that ask these type of questions. Because I wouldn't want to be involved with a person that's moving like that. You got to answer to a lot of these questions that you answer in these podcast interviews. And that's facts. So if you ain't hit that like or the subscribe button yet, that's what you need to be doing. But if not, y'all already know the deal with me, man. I'm gonna bust y'all across y'all head with some knowledge every time, man, straight up. And make sure y'all hit that bell for all notifications. And when I drop these reactions right here, they pop up on your timeline like the chicken pox. Boop, 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 boop. Y'all already know the deal with me, man. Listen, tap in.
This is an OG call. I'm keeping it. OG.